afternoon, everyone, et bienvenue toujours dans la continuité de cette troisième édition du BTech Challenge online, en direct de différents pays, différentes régions d'Algérie. Toujours, donc, on est vraiment dans la dernière ligne droite, la veille de la finale de nos challengers qui travaillent depuis pratiquement 2 semaines sur leur projet avec nos différents mentors qu'on salue. Et aujourd'hui, nous avons donc un invité qui est là pour la première fois, Roseanne, qu'on a contacté et qui a très facilement accepté, et nous en sommes très heureux, accepté notre invitation. Alors, je sais qu'elle est un peu francophone, mais elle est plus à l'aise en anglais, so I'll switch in English for our guest. Good afternoon, Roseanne. Can you hear us?
Yes, good afternoon, Sofiane, and thank you very much for the invitation. Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you so much, Roseanne. We are very pleased to have you with us. So I'll let Roseanne introduce herself, but just so that you know, Roseanne is from Kenya, and she is a CEO and founder of a startup also in agri-tech. So she will talk about her entrepreneurial journey, and as always, mentors, mentees, and everyone here with us, either on the Zoom or on the social media, you can ask your questions, and would be more than pleased to ask Roseanne by the end of her talk. So Roseanne, I'll let you the scene. Please go ahead, and we are listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. How much time do I have just in order to pace myself?
Well, I believe you have between 30 to 45 minutes, and we will have also 15 minutes of questions.
Question and answer. Okay.
All right. So, Roseanne, I don't know if you can, but it would be great if you could just activate your camera. I don't know if that's possible and if internet will allow it, but that would be cool. If you can't, it's okay.
Yes, I will activate my camera, and then maybe at some point later, if we see the problem of bandwidth coming in, I will deactivate it. Huh?
All right, it's okay. All right, wonderful. We can see you.
Yes. Great.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
The floor is yours. Go ahead, and we are here. Thank you so much.
Great. So as you have heard, my name is Roseanne Mwangi, and I am the founder and CEO of a company in Kenya called The Insectary. We started The Insectary in 2019. This is our 3rd anniversary. And it was in response to the problem of processing waste. There was several companies that were asking, what do we do with all this processing waste for potato chips, the peels that come from potatoes, and all the other associated waste products that come from processing companies. And so we looked around, we traveled across the region, went to Uganda, met a couple of farmers who are doing some fantastic things. And in the process, we got reintroduced to the Center for Insects, which is actually our neighbor here in Kenya. And this is the irony of things, that I had to go abroad in order for me to know about a project that was being done just in our backyard. So the center, the International Center for Insect and Physiology and Ecology, in short, it's called ICIPE. They are the leading knowledge partner in the field of insects, and they were doing some research on how black soldier fly larvae would degenerate various forms of waste. And so with our potato waste, we went ahead and provided a sample, and it worked very, very well. And so voila, we had our solution to the waste right there. So in 2019, July, we set up the plant. It is about an hour's drive from our capital city. It's called Murang'a. Makuyu to be precise. And in Makuyu, we started off with 3 kilos of 5-day-old larvae that had been provided by the Center for Insect Research, and our tons and tons of potato waste. And as they say, the rest has been history. Been a very good journey. The black soldier fly is an amazing converter of waste. Within 2 weeks, it will have converted whatever waste you have given it into some very fine residue that you then use for agricultural purposes as organic manure. In our case, we started with about 2 tons of manure, but it was not all just degenerated at once. We needed to first build the colony of flies. So from these kilos that we were given at Isipe, the larvae, we grew them all the way to adult flies. That takes about 30 days. After they became flies, the very first time it was a complete, it was a very steep learning curve because the adult fly cages did not contain all the flies. And so my unit had flies all over. The whole greenhouse became one adult fly cage. And it was really challenging because we were wondering, what do we do now? How do we attract the flies to lay the eggs? But as always, innovation comes up, and we found ways in which we can put in crates with the bait on the floor. And we found that the flies actually like very bright colors. So we would use yellow. The crates that you see in my unit are actually by design because we discovered that the flies are attracted to bright colors. So we used the crates as the bait stations, and they came and they laid their eggs there. And we were fortunate enough to be able to collect the eggs and perpetuate the cycle. So we did that for 3 consecutive cycles, which means everything that we get, we convert it into flies so that they can give us eggs. Therefore, we got a very big and vibrant adult fly colony. The adult fly is the basis of the success of insect farming because it is the seed unit. It is from the flies that you will get the egg. It is from the flies that you will now start getting enough larvae in order to process whatever waste it is that you have. And so with 3 consecutive turnovers, we got about 70 small cages of a meter cubed full of flies. That was a good place to start. Then we started now collecting the eggs in order to grow them. And from egg to egg, it goes to about
je pense que Roseanne a un petit souci d'internet. Roseanne, can you hear us? Are you still with us? Yeah, Roseanne, if you could just shut down your camera because internet is getting a little bit trouble. So I believe, yes, thank you. Can you just repeat the one last minute because we lost you for a few seconds.
Okay.
Hello, Roseanne, can you hear us?
Yes, I am here and I can hear you. Sorry
All
about
right,
that.
wonderful.
The black soldier fly itself as a fly is the basis of the success of the farming that we do. From egg to egg in East Africa, it takes about 35 days. So midway along that cycle, at day 20-21, that is when you harvest the larvae for feed. One usually leaves about 10% of the larvae and lets it continue on to pupate so that and thereby continue with the cycle of perpetuating the adult fly colony. So the rearing process starts with the egg. We take the eggs to the nursery, where it stays for about 2 days. Once it hatches, we take the eggs into we leave the eggs in the nursery for 5 days. That's because the black soldier fly larvae are very, very small, and they need to strengthen. They need to be strong enough so that you can handle them and move them around. So after 5 days, they are strong enough, and we are able to take them to the growth area. In the growth area, we give them in our system, we feed once. Seven kilos of food will give them about 1.5 kilos of larvae, and that will take them through to about from day 5 to day 21. So if you want to make more larvae, then you'll need the more food. The process is really quite simple. It's not yet mechanized. We have employed about 4 people full-time to work on the larvae growing area. We collect eggs once every 2 days. And so once every 2 days, we are making a new batch of black soldier fly larvae. That way, it means that also when it comes to harvesting, we are also harvesting once every 2 days. And at the moment, our capacity is down because of the lockdown that the COVID-19 brought about. There's been a little bit of a slowdown in people who go out into restaurants to eat. So the potato peels are not as many as they used to be. So what is happening is that we are looking at alternative sources of waste of substrate. And so we are working with local farmers who grow the various crops, potatoes, cabbages, carrots, and whose produce, not all of it goes to market. So we have been able to provide a small market for what they would call farm rejects. We take the farm rejects, we crush it, and then we use it for black soldier fly. That way, giving some revenue for the farmer for all their products, but also transforming what would have been seen as waste. It would have just been left in the farm to rot. We are transforming it to organic fertilizer for the farmers. And in the process, we are getting now the black soldier fly larvae. The black soldier fly larvae is very, very useful as a feed ingredient for chicken, for swine, and for fish. In our circumstances locally, we use it for fish and for swine. And it happens that the protein content in the black soldier fly is of very high quality, and it has a matching profile to a silverfish. The local name for silverfish here is omena. We use the black soldier fly to substitute for omena, and thereby help the farmers who are doing fishing to keep the fish for human consumption and to stop things like overfishing in the seas, in the lake. We have a freshwater lake in Kenya. Actually, it's the second largest in Africa, Lake Victoria. And there's been instances of overfishing of the silverfish, and so the population has gone down. We see that with this kind of an initiative of black soldier fly farming, then we can help the environment in the sense that we will leave the fish to repopulate naturally and go back to their natural habitat. The chicken grow very, very well. We have tested them on layers, and we have tested them on local chicken. We call them kienyeji. They are the preferred ones here in Kenya. And for the local chicken, you find that they get to a weight of about 1.5 kilos when they are cold dressed, slaughtered and ready to be eaten. As opposed, they get to that weight within 14 weeks. Now, with regular feeds, that takes almost 22 to 25 weeks. So we are saving on time by feeding the chicken black soldier fly larvae. The fish also do very well. There are other partner projects that have been working with fish, and they report very good results. Now, black soldier fly, the advantage of it is that it can be used by a local as well as by professionals. It can be used as a waste management solution for urban areas, and it can also be used as a local solution for farmers, you know, whether they are small scale or large scale farmers. For the chicken, the layers, we tested the substitution of black soldier fly with their current protein levels, and it worked very well. In fact, the chicken did not even show any signs of distress, because ordinarily in the battery cage systems, when you make a change in the diet of the chicken, then the productivity of the eggs comes down. When we were doing this trial, that did not happen, which means that the chicken comfortably assimilated it into their production, and they continued giving us the eggs that they were giving us before. So that was very good. The yolk of the egg was much thicker and much more yellow, which means that it has gotten all the amino acids and all the nutrients that it could get from the fly. Moving forward, the question on commercial viability of the project has been coming up from time to time from our partners, as well as also other stakeholders and other interested parties who get to hear of the black soldier fly farming. It is a very good additive, or can I say ingredient, for pet food, and there is a big market for that. Kenya is also leading the way in legislation around insects, that is in farming, that is in processing, and also in marketing. So the presence of the International Center here in Kenya is really helping us much. We have certification for our products. We have the diamond mark of quality from the Kenya Bureau of Standards, which essentially says that they have looked into it and they have done their tests upon it, and it is fit for animal consumption as animal feed. That opens up lots and lots of possibilities for markets, for collaborations, and for providing solutions to urban problems. So we are seeing this becoming a very interesting space, and we are looking to see how we can take advantage of being the forbearers into shaping the industry, as well as getting the industry to serve the purpose that it was intended. We are forming an association of black soldier fly practitioners in Kenya. We have about 150 individuals and companies that have come up ever since we started, and we are all linked, because what happens is that they come for training hello, will come together because majority of the people are people who we have trained and who we have met in similar circles. And so we come together to see how we can meet some of the challenges in the industry. So for instance, there is the question of drying of the black soldier fly larvae. When the black soldier fly larvae is produced, it is either used immediately when it is live. You can give it to your chicken when it is live, chicken, fish, and swine. And that means that you need to produce the feed as you're feeding the animals. But another way of doing it is adding value. And the addition of value would mean cleaning them up and washing them and then drying them in a way that will not destroy the protein. And then after that, you mill them, you crush them into powder. And instead of having investments of the processing kind on each farm, we are looking to see if it is possible to have that kind of a unit at a central point where the farmers can then come and get that service. It is also a question of marketing. And once we have a regular supply of black soldier fly larvae, then it would be easy to aggregate and access commercial markets that would require the product in bulk. I think I'll pause there and ask Sofiane if there are questions, or maybe we can have an interactive session of question and answer. Thank you. Sofiane, back to you.
Thank you so much, Roseanne, and for keeping with the time. Thank you so much. And sorry. And going back to our, if we have any questions. So we do have a lot of questions. Actually, we have a question from Sofiane who's also working on black soldiers fly. So I'll start question first, who says, what's the needed quantity of waste, organic waste to produce 1 ton of larvae? Don't know if you can answer this question, Roseanne.
Yes. What we realized is that each different kind of waste stream gives a different kind of weight for the larvae. So there is a question of mixing the waste streams that you have to optimize the weight of the individual larvae. In my case, we have come up with a formula whereby we use potato as the core, but we have a few other additives. And in our instance, we are doing 3.5 tons for a ton of live larvae.
Okay, thank you, Roseanne. So next question, how did you do to collect all the organic waste in your project? Because in our project, we thought of looking for other companies to do it. So how do you guys collect all those wastes, organic?
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, that is a very critical question, and I'm glad that it's coming up. We did a stakeholders analysis with the help of the knowledge partner, ISIPE. And in the stakeholders analysis, we were looking at the various nodes in the chain of black soldier fly. And the person who controls the waste is the person who controls the growth of the industry. So in that instance, when we came to that conclusion, we looked at ways in which we can advocate and do campaigns to have people become aware that there is a organic waste solution that is readily available, and it needs the collaboration of everyone. So we have a project called Smart Markets. Smart Markets is being run by the Rockefeller Foundation, and it is the implementing partner is the East African Grain Council. And in this project, they are aggregating all the market waste in the various towns and having it sorted into something that a black soldier fly farmer can collect and use. So that is one of the ways in which our waste, we are sourcing for our waste. There are other ways through working directly with companies that do agricultural processing. And there is also the possibility of working with farms, large-scale farms that have got product in their farms that they do not use. So that brings us to the next question. Let me preempt this, because the question of waste always goes hand in hand with the question of, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
The question of waste always comes with the question of moving that waste. The cost of transporting the waste has become one of the key cost drivers in black soldier fly farming. And if it is left uncurbed, it might lead to unsustainability. And so the other thing that one would need to do when they're looking at designing a sustainable black soldier fly farm is to locate the farm as close as possible to the source of the waste itself. It is easier to transport the finished product, the live larvae or even the dried and milled larvae, than it is to transport the waste, because waste is bulky. And so you would need bigger vehicles or things to move it. The reality in East Africa is that the distances are far, and the network of roads, whereas it is good and others are being made, it does take time and it does cost significantly.
Great. We still do have a few questions, Roseanne. Actually, we still have a question from Sofiane, who says, how does the change in different conditions like temperature, humidity, affect your production, and how do you manage it? So how does the change in the conditions like temperature affect the production, and how do you monitor and manage it?
Thank you very much. East Africa is generally a tropical location, which means that the temperature range doesn't fluctuate so much. Generally, we have temperatures between 18 when it's very low at night, and sometimes during the day it can go to up to about 25, 27 in some areas. So we use a greenhouse, and the greenhouse has been made in such a way that when it gets too hot, we have flaps that we open so that the air can come in and it cools it down. And when it gets a little bit too cold, like for instance, during the night, we have those flaps that we then drop, and the temperature of the day is retained within the greenhouse. In areas that are very, very hot, what one makes is a screen house. You just use netting to keep the birds and the animals out. Instead of a greenhouse, you can use a screen house. And black soldier flies like also a relative humidity that is about 50. So in my area, it is a little bit dry. We have a general relative humidity of about 35. So what we do is that we keep watering and misting the greenhouse so that the humidity levels are maintained in a way that is friendly for the black soldier fly larvae to thrive.
Thank you so much for this precious information. Just to translate the correct term, so greenhouse, c'est les serres. Pour l'équipe, c'est en français greenhouse, c'est les serres. And screen house, c'est des espèces de filets qu'on met pour protéger juste tout en air. So next question. I get back to Maisa's question before getting back to Mufti. So Maisa said, how do you deal with water shortage, sorry, if it is applicable in your area? So do you have water available, or is it quite difficult, and how do you deal with that too?
Sofian?
Yes, Roseanne.
Sorry, I missed your question.
Yeah, it's okay. So we have a question from Maisa, who said, how did you deal with water shortage, if it is applicable in your area? Had it been a challenge for your business?
Black soldier fly farming does not require a lot of water. The main water that we use is for misting the air so that we can bring the relative humidity up to the levels that are required. But other than that, black soldier fly really, they do not like water. If the waste has got too much water, then you risk losing the larvae because they run away from water. Water for other uses such as cleaning and maintaining the place, we have, and we do not, we have a borehole on location.
Okay, thank you. I hope it's clear for you, Maisa. And we have another question from Mufdi, who says, how can we attract the black soldier fly here in Algeria? Even though I believe there are some prototypes, I know in universities, but also I guess with Sofiane, who's here with us. But I would say, what would be your advices to people who want to try to have black soldier fly here in Algeria? So what would you advise them to do if they want to start their business around that?
Yes, you can get your starter material from the Center for Insect Study that I mentioned earlier, ICIPE. I know they last shipped to Tunisia. They can ship to the Maghreb. The black soldier fly is endemic in Africa, meaning its environment is in Africa. That is what we have read in the books, and that's what the ones who have studied, the knowledge partners, have told us. So you can also try and attract it from the environment during your summers, because it likes heat, it likes warm climates, and it is also a very, very hardy animal. It is a very hardy insect. Even in very harsh conditions, you find that it does not die, but it just slows down its metabolism. So
thanks, Razan. We have Amira that asked you this question, who said, talk to us about female entrepreneurship. Did you have any difficulties, or what were your advantages? And if you could give one last advice for the youth entrepreneurs.
As I would say, go for it. Black soldier fly, I think, is a very interesting fly in that it will help address the protein shortage. So it is a business on its own, and it also can help support other businesses in the livestock value chain, chicken and fish. So it is a win-win situation, and it also gives you a lot of manure, which you can use for agriculture, and it helps with the problem of waste management. So I would encourage them to go for it. I think there is opportunity for more than just a few players because the larvae is so small. So we need to be many who are producing it so that it can make sense for commercial purposes.
Thank you. And with these great words and advices, I think we reached the end of our conference and workshop. Thank you so much, Roseanne, for this great information and advices. I really appreciate your talk. Thank you so much. You are more than welcome to share with us anytime, and you would always have an open door here in Algeria if you ever come to visit us, and you're more than welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much too, and I appreciate.
And again, for our challengers, mentors, mentees, if you have any additional information, don't hesitate. We would be more than pleased to connect you with Roseanne, and you can ask your questions later on by email or any other way. Keeping up with our program, thank you, Roseanne. You can still stay with us, and we have our next talk given by Mr. Karim Broury. So I'll switch back to French. Alors, toujours dans la continuité des workshops et talks aujourd'hui, nous continuons avec Monsieur Karim Broury qui va démarrer dans 5 petites minutes. Le temps de vous rafraîchir pour ceux qui ont chaud, de prendre un café pour ceux qui ont la tête qui tourne, et on reprend dans 5 petites minutes. À tout de suite.